Wonderful, look at that. Isn't that a wonderful picture, having the three of them on the stage here, three powerhouses in the realm of investments and mergers and acquisitions and just the entire innovation space of startups. So this is great for us that they have the time to join us, because it's always good to leverage their experience and their expertise that they gathered with the plenty of businesses that they had the chance to work with, and they probably dive into business cases every day, reviewing them. So let me do this properly, as we are here at the ITB Berlin Convention. So if you're not knowing who's sitting here with us, I start on the right hand. We have Min Liu. You are the Managing Director at Cambon Partners. Thank you so much for being here with us. It's a pleasure to have you. Right, and then in the middle, thank you so much for being here. It's a home game for you, right?
Yeah.
You're from Berlin.
Thanks for the invitation, Leah.
Yes, it's Christoph Schuh. You are manager, investment partner at Lakestar, a very famous name in the investment scene in travel tech. So we're thrilled to have you. Thank you.
Happy to. Thank you.
Yes, and then Amadeus Ventures being here the third time, I think, in a row, even the fourth or the fifth or the sixth. I mean, I love it. It feels like a tradition to have you back here on stage. Suzanna, Chiu, you're the head of Amadeus Ventures at Amadeus, representing a corporate accelerator and investment perspective. Right, and as I explained to you, right, this session concept is that we first collect a bit of a sentiment, what's going on in the industry, what is the trends in investments and the travel tech startup scene, and then we will give the stage to the startups pitching, and each of them has 3 minutes, and then we have about 4 to 5 minutes to engage with them and ask questions, and future-proof their idea and see if that's really something that will change the industry. And let's kick this off with understanding what the sentiment overall is. So, Christoph, from your perspective, where you're sitting with Lakestar, how is the investor sentiment towards travel tech evolved in the past years? Is it very positive? Is it?
I would say it's quite positive. Welcome, everybody. I would say it's positive if you, on the one hand, look at the market cap of the bigger OTAs. I think Booking.com is nearly at the all-time high, 160 billion market cap. It's one of the top 100 most valued companies globally. So having a travel company within it, then Airbnb with 90 billion. They came down a bit, but still on a nice multiple of 6 times EV sales, which is great. So I think this is a good indicator that travel is back. But I have to say the classical B2C marketplace travel is a tricky one. Building brands in that environment is something we have done in the past. We have done it a lot with the companies we supported, like Get Your Guide, like Home2Go, like Omio, like Lime Home and others. But that was another time. I would say it needs a bit more smartness today. For example, what we like is embedded travel. For example, Revolut, as one of our portfolio companies, they are big in selling travel. This is something which we like and building tools about it. Then, for example, for fragmented areas like vacation rental, if you create software for that play, that is something we really like and we look into. So it's less the classical, another B2C vertical marketplace pitch we like. Hopefully, it's not something you're aiming for in a way, but I've seen it's different. So it's let's say horizontal tech. It's of course AI agents which are helping us in the quite manual travel world. So a lot of fields to invest into, but less the classical ones. That's what I would say.
Right. I mean that's very optimistic. That the overall sentiment is good. Travel is back. So what would you say, Min Liu, from your perspective at Cambon Partners? How would you describe the sentiment currently towards travel tech?
Yeah, they're positive as well. I think the share price of travel tech listed companies has grown by more than 70% compared to COVID. And we saw last year, for instance, travel tech transactions in terms of count has risen as well compared to 2023. So all of these are positive signs.
Right.
And we are in the market. Actually, we're doing a lot of Amadeus and, especially with travel tech companies.
Right, okay, thank you. And Suzanna, you're representing Amadeus Ventures, right, which is a corporate venture fund,
Yep.
right? So what trends are you seeing? What are you looking for currently in the travel industry?
Exactly. I'm going to say something very surprising to everyone in the room, which is artificial intelligence. So,
We haven't heard about this today.
not at all, not at all. Yeah, yeah. So, no, to say, and in the investment circle, to say, we joke about it as well. No, like, is there anyone who is not working on AI, right? Who can afford not to work on AI these days, right? I think, like, over the last 18, 24 months, right? This is all about not missing out on how can we use AI, how can we use AI to improve travel experience, how can we use AIs to help our operations. So overall, like as a software company, we are also exploring like ways to use AI, generative AI, to make our development process more streamlined. Like so overall, there is a potential. There is like something very interesting and very powerful out there. And we are very actively exploring ways to be able to take that into production.
Yeah, wonderful. Is there any other macro trends? I mean, AI is a massive influencer. Is another aspect you'd say is super important and influencing your investment strategies at the moment at Lakestar?
I think I've said a lot. I think there is some deep tech innovation. We are looking into how can, let's say, different CPU power change, for example, dynamic pricing or other, let's say, important features of the travel tech, bringing more efficiency into it. So that's why that's what we are looking into. And as I said, whenever travel comes into other value-add areas like finance, like insurance, I think these are boosters of the core business. And if you are able with AI or other tools to add other revenue streams and produce margins out of these value-add services, that's what we like.
Right.
Yeah. Christoph has very smartly said quantum computing without saying quantum computing.
Yeah, I hate to say these kind of buzzwords because I think quantum is not there yet. In a way, we are all preparing to, but supercomputers will enable us into a different kind of real-time experience of data, and that's what we like.
Right. And I mean, in the travel industry, there has been a significant merger and acquisitions activity, right? That's basically how many of the companies grow and also acquire innovation, basically, right? So what are you seeing? What trends are you seeing in particular in that realm of mergers and acquisitions? Is AI a driving factor there at the moment as well?
Yeah, I think AI definitely is hot topic for everyone. I think investors will ask questions, how you use generative AI in your business, whether it is improve operating efficiency or whether it is really transactional model. But we do not see yet how to, on the business plan, we haven't incorporated much that, focus in building business plan because you still need to prove the case to make sure that investor can buy that. So because we are, as a firm, a company, usually companies at growth stage. So early stage AI, for us is not yet in our target, but in our client portfolio, we see a lot of use cases in terms of reducing OPEX using this technology. Sometimes you have chatbots using AI, replacing some repetitive tasks of human beings. So that are positive signals, and investors want to see that in travel tech. So how you will leverage this tool, reduce costs and increase revenue.
Right. And I mean, something that we learned from the pandemic and also the current situation, everything's quite uncertain wherever you look, right? Geopolitical, society, everything's not, there's nothing really certain. So isn't it more important now to have an even better recipe to how to assess the resilience of a travel startup that you're supporting in either way? So Christoph, maybe you start. Is there this top recipe that you can share with all of us? How can we prove that this is going to be a long-term success?
I think it's a good question. I have to say, travel is an inherent need of only our society, You can see it, the COVID effect, which affected us for 2.5 years, but we are almost above 2019 now. And I think people, let's say, travel and holidays, this kind of experience is something people need to do. They would even cut other things than travel. So that's why I think that is a really resilient need. And that's why I think it's a stable one. What you need is a business model which really can live with cyclic, let's say, ups and downs. And that's why to optimize alongside profitability and not having a lot of cash in the bank and not having good investors who support in tricky times is a risky game, I would say.
Right, okay, understood. And I mean, that leads maybe to the next question, because imagine you're an entrepreneur, you start your company, you have an idea, and then how do you do it? Do you bootstrap? Do you go and get funding? Do you turn to a corporate, background and ask them, hey, you're a venture fund, can we get support? What's your recommendation, Suzanna? How do you guide them if they come to you in the very early days of having an idea?
Yeah. So the advice here is not every single startup needs VC funding. So it really depends on the growth trajectories. It depends on the concept that you work on, just like your addressable markets and so forth. So there are like a certain growth pattern that is more suitable for VC funding, and there are like more healthy businesses that can be more suitable for bootstrapping. No? And in terms of corporate VC, right, our biggest value add is on top of the money that we're going to give you is the access. So access to our network, access to our experience and knowledge. And so in that case, it's I want to describe that like corporate VCs is we are your vitamins. So we are here to boost your health, but the startups is by yourself. It's you need to find your calories. Yes, so you need to have your solid business model. You need to find your product market fit, and everything is as an independent standalone startup. And in that case, we are more than happy to support you on the growth journey.
Right. And I mean, not to increase the pressure now because we are transitioning to the pitches, but each of you, give me very briefly, what's the biggest mistake someone can do when they pitch an idea to you? Min Liu, if someone introduces an idea to you, what is something that you say is a red flag? I can't move on with that.
Yeah, I think, well, it is a very difficult question because, sometimes you want to sell your big ideas, but sometimes you need to be realistic. So strike the right balance between being realistic today and to see what the roadmap to your future vision and to convince investors on that side, that's super important.
Right, okay. And what will you say, Christoph? What's a red flag when pitching?
I would say personal link to the use case the business is focusing on. So we like passion and driven by experience the founder has had in the past, and that's why he or she is building that business. If there is just something designed by TAM, that's what we don't like.
Right, okay, got it. And you, Suzanna, what would you add?
Yeah, I'll say too, first is technology for technology's sake. Right. So there's a new technology, let's just use it to say whether there is an actual problem that you're trying to solve. The second one is do your market research. Right? To say, these days, I've been in this job for 10 years, the new concepts that I'm hearing, it is less than 10%. So to learn from the mistakes or the lessons of your predecessors, do your research and learn from it. Not to say you can go back to the same use case, but how are you going to do something that is better this time?
Right, okay. I mean, pressure's on, right, I'd say.